are a thing.
You're so cute, Fluffy.
I will get my sheep and fucking stab you with it.
Well, it's on Jonas's side. Oh, you have one too.
Yeah, interesting. Jonas, Lance, did you give the GM one? I noticed you didn't give yourself one or me.
There you go. Try and roll it again.
Where is it?
It's on Jonas's table.
That's it.
No.
It doesn't appear to be. Oh, over here. I see it now.
It's not it.
Oh,
It's not on the table. There you go. Yes, this die. Wait, what?
What? Told you it fixed itself.
I call bullshit.
Yeah, I swear absolutely that we rolled this dice.
There. It did
we
that
rolled this
5 times in a row.
Yeah.
So to the audience, if y'all remember last episode, Jonas kept rolling blanks, and there was a comment about if it wasn't for the force die, he'd just roll blanks constantly. Lance decided to change that, make it to where a force die could roll a blank by rolling on its side. Now, unfortunately, because Steam had its large updates, and I didn't hear Lance say that, you know, he was done and the game was up, I didn't get to catch it. I was wanting to catch it on Steam too, the actual original reactions. So, damn it.
It was good. It was really good.
Lance, how could you?
And Zeke fully approved.
That's how.
There's Restream Chat. And for some reason, it's still connecting to Twitch.
So basically the way this ended up working out is 2 sides will land properly. And I absolutely love that the first time you guys tried to roll it, it landed the way it's supposed to. That was glorious.
Can someone check Twitch real quick, see if I'm actually streaming? I should be streaming there, but Restream is saying that it can't connect to the chat, at least.
Okay.
It
I'll
does
check.
look like you're up.
Hmm.
And Leo, your dice are properly set up now. Welcome.
Okay, yep, we've got people in the chat, so you're up.
Yeah.
And hearing myself is a weird echo.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, I cannot see the chat from Twitch. Let me actually try restarting this. Either way, who has the recap? Was it Lance?
Yep, I've got it.
Alright, so while I'm setting this up, you mind go ahead and going through that?
Yep, we can do that. And as compensation for the issues with the dice, Leo actually rolled 2 late, so awesome.
Yeah, I'm still having the same issues. Restream does not like Twitch right now.
Grr. Okay, here goes. By the Force, she's safe. More or less. Sharon was in my arms. And I had to leave her again. I honestly don't know what this galaxy, or the Force, or whatever, has in mind. We delivered the artifact to the businessman as promised. Kept his word as far as keeping us safe. He even made arrangements for her to enjoy a social function of sorts on the station. I saw Sharon just being Sharon, enjoying a dance, a visit amongst people. She'd not a care in the world for those brief moments. But it wasn't to last. The businessman's boss is the one who arranged for her safety, And it seems, unlike him, this man has every intention of taking advantage of the situation. The condition of the artifact was never a point of negotiation. It's not our fault that it isn't one piece, yet my child is supposed to pay the price to remain in their custody until we recover the remaining parts of the holocron? If there'd been even a chance to get her out in one piece, I might have started shooting. The businessman's boss, whoever he is the second person to hold my child hostage. However, I never expected that the person looking after her during her stay with the exchange would be someone I know. Aaron, that crazy nut. We grew up together, and despite his many stubborn advances over the years, he always respected boundaries when it came to Ken and I. He became a friend of the family after we were married. As rare as his business brought him back to Teneb, he was always welcome in our home. Sharon adopted him as an uncle, and he's as close to a brother as I've ever had, if I'm being honest. He chose to become a smuggler, a decision that never sat well with Ken and I, definitely more so for myself. I was unfairly cross with him, and now those very skills have helped him find his way to Sharon's side. If anyone outside of my husband, or the motley crew I found myself flying with, can keep her safe, it's him. Aaron allowed us some time alone in a private room, and it was all I could do not to take a hand and make a run for it. Of all the scenarios that ran through my head, I never thought of the one that we found ourselves in. That we would see each other, be reunited, only to be torn apart again. Tell her that her father was missing, and then of all things to be reassured by her that he was alive. Well, to be fair, that tidbit of information came from her imaginary friend. I'm lying if I said I fully understood what that was about, but I don't need to understand in order to believe in it. I wish I could tell the others, but it's safer for everyone to keep certain things hidden, and my understanding of them, however minor. She'll do her best to behave, sure enough. And there was one part of our conversation that is nagging at me, though. She lost her bear, Ollie, in the course of her abduction. She told me not to go after him. If there were one thing in the universe beyond her parents that she'd want to have back, it's him. It was unsettling to hear her speak that way, far more than I let on to Aaron. He's never seen her like that. Neither have I. Like just about everyone else, he doesn't know. And I truly hope she keeps it that way. Like the dance, our visit didn't last. Aaron has a job to do, even if it's just to keep up appearances. Businessman knows he's a friend, but it is best if he and his boss don't know the details. He shared a message with me. It was Ken explaining what had happened. I should have known he'd ask someone for help. I wish he would have told me, but I understand why he didn't. I was in no state of mind to be, well, rational at that point. For now, as painful as it was to leave, she's in his care. Aaron is fully capable of keeping her safe. In many ways, it's a relief to have him there. But they are still in harm's way, and we have very little to go on beyond rumor and what was shared by Merez. That isn't much. At any rate, Desric found me shortly after my return to the ballroom. He offered a drink, which I very nearly accepted, until he told me that Mr. Doge was on the ship and wished to speak with me. Needless to say, he was in a rush to keep up at that point. Aboard the Skylark, Mr. Doge filled me in on what he'd learned, while Rose entertained some of the businessman's employees in the lounge. He wasn't able to learn anything of my husband, but he did note that both escape pods were gone. It could have been a short circuit, but if Sharon's friend is right, he must have been aboard. The Mercy was shot to hell, looted by pirates and salvagers. We managed to get her towed, Repairing her is definitely on the list, but it will certainly cost more than we have. For now I have to stay focused on Sharon. I worry about my husband, and I want our home to fly again, but if I worry about everything at once, I will fall apart. The ship isn't going anywhere, and my husband can take care of himself. Sharon will need our help the most. Mr. Doge has agreed to help where he can, and after propping Desric up against the wall, made it very clear that Pith is to remain unharmed through our endeavors. I very nearly stunned him, or would have tried to, but I absolutely understand where he's coming from. I could have done the same to the businessman's boss. I would have. Instead, my best option, my only option, is to remain a part of the crew on this ship. We find the artifact pieces as quickly as we can and give the man his completed item. In exchange, he will return my daughter unharmed. That is more than fair, considering that the original conditions of this deal have already been met. Leo is kind enough to plot a course, the most efficient course given what we know. On our departure from the station, Rose seemed more than a little disturbed. She mentioned something about someone on the hangar bay. We were about to discuss the next steps. She just turned about and left the cockpit. I followed her and tried once again to get her to talk to me. To talk to anyone about what's getting to her. And surprisingly enough, it worked. One of our next destinations is a world called Fallujah. Whatever's there, rumor or real, has affected her deeply. She spoke of demons, one in particular, Demon of Zur. A creature she seems intent on facing if it's still there. Provided it is, she has a second artifact she's hoping to recover. A mask of some sort. I'm not sure of the details beyond that fear is a central component of its powers, abilities, curses. Whatever it is, we've had plenty of rehearsal dealing with our fears on Terrace. If that mask is there, I'll help her find it. But it had better not lead to more nightmares like that damned holocron keeps bringing up. No sooner had we finished our little chat than Desric and Leo started butting heads again. This time it was over payment. Desric seems at odds with the idea of paying a droid that works for the rebels. Personally, I wish they'd try to see eye to eye on a thing or two. Desric doesn't need to believe droids are sentient in order to respect Leo's choice. But I didn't do a very good job at all of helping him to see reason. And it's not as though Desric didn't bring up good points of his own. He was captured and interrogated by the Empire. His very mind was violated by whatever that shadow was. With Sharon back on the station, I didn't listen to either side as well as I should have. Desric has been harmed far more seriously by what happened than he's letting on. I need to find a way to stand up for Leo's rights as a sentient being without constantly lecturing Desric. It isn't helping matters at all. I tried to extend a peace offering of sorts. During our stop at the station, Desric wasn't able to negotiate my daughter's release, but he did manage to secure some upgrades for the Skylark. At the very least, it will hasten our search. Leo asked me to review the modifications to the drive components before installing them, and I wanted someone to look for potential bugs. Desric agreed to do so, and we both got to listen as Pith explained his end of the relationship with Mr. Doge. The short version of the story, Pith became a doctor out of a desire to bring less scrupulous doctors to justice, stop illegal research into deadly viruses and the like. Mr. Doge was the sort to pick fights and get into trouble, so naturally Pith had to patch him up. That doesn't sound familiar at all. As far as the engine modifications are concerned, it's easy to see what someone has done, but sometimes why is a mystery, especially when you don't travel in the sorts of circles where such modifications are necessary, even commonplace. Desric was able to verify that there weren't any bugs, and kindly brought me up to speed on some of the final points of smuggling. Once I get these parts installed, we should end up a fair bit faster, even if only at Sublight. He was also good enough to find one last gift from the businessman. A dedicated communication unit, as promised, for my daughter and I. In the rush to get things on the move, I knew it was promised, but I hadn't thought to confirm it. The businessman is as good as his word as far as keeping us in touch, and I've already sent word that she can contact me at any time. The limitations they have placed make sense, however. I'm to inform them if we're on mission or unavailable, so that she doesn't call it, shall we say, an inconvenient moment. At the very least, I can make certain she's all right, and reassure her that we're doing everything we can to bring her home. Home. Our very next stop is Tanab. Desric agreed to land at the spaceport near my father's house. I'll help them research the artifact, go through the library and archives, whatever they need. At some point before we leave, I need to install these upgrades. But before any of that, I must attend to a very solemn duty. And an encrypt log.
Very nice. Little sad, but very nice.
Again, I apologize for the length, but it was kind of necessary.
Yeah, that was a long one, but it was a good one.
Yeah, if it was short, though, it just wouldn't make sense.
Very true.
A lot of story happened last episode.
Yes,
Oh,
indeed.
just stretching real quick. Okay, so if I remember right, everyone is still on the ship.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Don't remember how long the travel was supposed to be. It was short, but...
We just came out of hyperspace.
Ah, yes, that's right. So at this point, everyone's virtually in the cockpit, right? Or are they just lounging around somewhere?
Yeah, I've been in the cockpit.
Yeah. Ellie's, yeah, sure. She's in the cockpit.
Yeah, that's definitely where Desric would be.
Oh, yeah, it's his ship.
Better be, Captain.
Yeah, but there's this other thing in the cockpit that I really don't want to be around.
So, unfortunately, work caught up and I did not get to get any more maps or anything, so if a map is needed, I'll try to draw one on the fly. But...
Theater of the
Worries.
mind, raw draw.
yeah.
So that's the best part. Drawing maps. That's awesome.
Unless you suck at drawing. Like, truly suck.
I do truly suck at drawing.
Okay. So, did I say anything last episode about what y'all saw when y'all popped out of hyperspace, or we just end it as soon as y'all popped out?
We
And
weren't
as
even
soon as
quite
we
out of
came out.
hyperspace. We had just gotten to the
Yeah.
cockpit, and that was it.
Oh, yes. So, as you get into the cockpit, the alarm's going off to say you're almost at the destination. Everyone's gathered in. I have no idea where everyone's at, so I'll just say I assume everyone's just strapping in. Desric's obviously pilot seat. Is Leo in the co-pilot?
Yes.
All right, so the other two are in whatever the back two seats in the 1300 is for.
Backseat driving mostly.
Yeah, I was going to say, convenient placement for the purposes of having people on camera.
Yeah.
I assume one of them is like a comms position.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one's is a comm.
The other might be astrogation, I don't know.
I assume that would be the co-pilot.
Well, maybe one of them is a weapons console for the gun turrets.
Or just passenger seats.
Yeah, they could just be passenger seats. I mean, this is not a passenger model, it's a freighter model. And as for the turrets, Most I've ever seen them, unless they've been modified, are self-manned.
Yeah.
Unless you have our variant. Our variant lacks a certain amount of, oxygen.
Yes, you had mentioned that they were linked to basically a fire control computer so that we don't have to man them because they're not mannable.
No, not mannable, but you do have to be at the station controlling them.
Yeah.
Either way. And the alarm's going off, you're all in the cockpit, you're strapping yourselves down. The familiar blue of hyperspace is flying by. And as you reach your destination and come right out of hyperspace, the planet just zooms up straight into the into view. You can see the station that you need to go to confirm landing coordinates and permissions and whatnot. There are quite a few ships around here. You see a multitude of freighters of all types, picking up cargo, landing on the planet, taking off, the usual for business. There is a military presence, though from what you see, it's like a defense force to protect against piracy and whatnot.
Local forces or Imperial forces?
A mix, actually. This is not a warlike planet, but it is a high trade zone. So what they lack in local, they make up with a few in Imperial. But the what you see for Imperial isn't very large, not large scale. Maybe a few Tartan cruisers, some, just smaller ships, some local bulk cruisers and dreadnoughts. Dreadnought is the biggest, there's only a single one. But this one doesn't seem to be on patrol, it seems to kind of have just got there, and is at the station. Docked. And this is the scene.
Desric will reach up and flick off the alarm for exiting hyperspace. All right, Illy, where to?
Yeah, she hands over a pad that has like the coordinates on it. If you request a landing there, should be close enough.
All right, very well. So Desric will get on comms and hail the closest space tower or port to the location he was just given.
Positioned in the four corners of the planet, so you're heading right for one.
Right. Well, she requested a specific spaceport, so I just
spaceport's on the planet.
Yeah.
The stations up there are more control stations and for minor trading and stuff like that, so you don't have to go down to the planet. But they're really there for traffic control.
Oh, right. So we're still requesting to go planet side.
Yep.
So Desric will hail the station then. This is Freighter Skylark requesting berth planet side.
Greetings, Skylark. This is Synab Orbital Station 03. Where is exactly the coordinates to where you're going? Or what landing platform are you requesting, basically?
Do I have the name of a station or just a set of coordinates?
27 Alpha sounds good enough.
Roger that. Requesting berth at 27 Alpha.
Setting flight path. They have 6 bays open. Alright. You have permission to land at 27 Alpha. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you. And Desric will click off comms and make his way to the course. Make his course.
Alright, give me a planetary piloting roll. as you're landing.
Dun, dun,
And I need to roll obligation, too.
planetary. Roger.
Please don't crash the ship.
And crashes it. Then I have to deal with this. Anyone got the
No faith. No faith whatsoever.
card for the 1300?
I'll have to drop it down.
I have one.
Cheers.
If you want to just grab it by right next to the dice tower. That would be a 2.5? Yeah, 2.5.
Nice.
I could have done with one or two more successes, but I made up with it in advantages, I guess.
All right. What was your success again? 2?
2 success, 5 advantage.
All right. You are left with 2, 4.
So only one
Only
disadvantage
one
was
threat.
all?
Only one threat. That's it.
Nice.
right,
okay, so we're gonna get there quickly.
Yeah. So you're going in. The traffic does seem to be set into kind of like lanes for going up and down for organization's sakes and to make sure no one is going to crash into anybody. You do see a few who are faster, like smaller ships, smaller freighters, coming around the big ones. Again, going to and fro. You're not as small as some of these. You're kind of like the in-between size of the Silhouette 4 and the Silhouette 3. Or 5 and 3, I'm sorry. But you've gotten used to the controls of the Skylark in its current state. So you're piloting quite well. You get to one point where 2 large ships kind of just start splitting from their line as if they're getting hyperspace coordinates in 2 different directions. Most would take it by surprise, but you spin the ship, go right between them, and you come straight down to landing. This is about 2 minutes after the little thing. You come down, you come into land. It's a nice open ring. It's quite clean, quite clear. You do see what seems to be a few maintenance droids down there kind of waiting on you. And you touch down. The droids begin to approach. And as for obligation, so with the artifact gone, everyone's sleep has gotten a lot better. You still have a few dreams here and there, but they are more memories, but they don't wake you as much, and they're not as frequent. So whether it's the artifact, the lack of artifact, or the stress catching up with you, you're not 100% sure, but everyone will take 1 point of reduced strain threshold because obligation was rolled, and this time it landed on Rose.
Balls.
So, with the artifact on there, even when it was on the ship, you're the only one who wasn't affected by it. As a matter of fact, you had the best sleep of your life. You're always in a good mood, and your bloodlust, for some reason, seemed to be quenched. It still feels like that, but it's not as much, and it's beginning to drain. You are getting an antsy feeling, but it's not an antsy like blood. It's like something's missing, something's wrong, and you're not too sure what. The Skylark has landed, and the droids begin their approach. There are 3.
Ah, they even have a servicing crew. Well, before they start charging me an arm and a leg, better go figure out what the prices are.
Should be fairly reasonable from what I recall.
Well, we could probably do with a bit of maintenance.
Certainly couldn't hurt.
Well, don't just stand around, gang. All ashore that's going ashore. Illy, you seem to know the area. Where's the first port of call?
Well, there are plenty of places to stay nearby if we're not going to stay on the ship. It's up to you, really. I plan for my first stop to be my father's home.
Right. Sorry. Is there, I don't know, local library, resource, anything we can do to get information? Visitor center, perhaps?
There's a visitor center, certainly. A library. I didn't go there very much myself, but from what I recall, they have a very extensive collection. I think some of it even goes back to the founding of this particular planet. So,
Perfect. Sounds right up Leo's alley. Desric looks over to the droid.
Jonas?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's having trouble again.
I had a feeling that I was having issues.
Well, you're good
so
now.
Yeah. After Zeke had finished speaking about the library, no, Lance, sorry, Leo was like, that will be my port of call then.
Very well. Rose, what do you want to do? I think deal with this landing crew and then perhaps the visitor center, or maybe a bit of shopping even?
Up for a bit of shopping.
Good. I always like visiting the markets. All right then. Illy, you've got our comms. Take as much time as you need, but stay in touch.
all right. Thank you.
Jonas, or sorry, Leo,
Yes.
find out what you can at the library, but don't wander. I don't know how much the Empire has broadcasted about our presence, but I'm guessing that the captain will have taken notice that we haven't checked in.
Of course. I will accompany Miss Eliana until we need to separate.
Sounds
So
like a
if someone
plan.
opens up-
And Desric is feeling very proud of himself now, all of his captainly leadership skills, and having gotten rid of the droid for a few hours.
So now you're just left on the ship with a stab-happy doctor.
Oh, and the murderous Sith user, Force user. Yeah, so my situation's really looking up.
Okay, so everyone hopping off.
Yep.
Yep, Desric's going to see what the landing crew want.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going with Desert.
So as you get to the ramp, you hit the button to drop it. It comes down, and the droids are there. They are a more advanced type of no, I say advanced, more modern in comparison to Leo type of repair droids and all that. Ugh. I am not quite awake yet. The middle part just seem to be like a somewhat human-looking droid for communication purposes, but they do have like arms that can go out everywhere. But right now they're folded against the body frame, so it's kind of like a mix between a protocol and an astrometric almost. But you can tell if any tight spaces need to be going through, these guys can't do it like an astromech can. As you come down the ramp, one of them moves forward and he begins to speak. Greetings, sir. Is there any maintenance or refueling that you require?
That'll depend on the cost, but certainly a refuel would be appreciated.
I'll have to get with Jonas about how the refueling works, but he pops up. Again, I'll have to get with Jonas entirely because I don't know how fuel works in this. Is it like a liquid or a solid?
A reasonable figure?
Yeah, it's quite reasonable.
It's
At least 10 credits. What
liquid.
can you do with that?
I think it's liquid, yeah.
All right, and you think they would charge by liter or gallon? Because I have no idea what type of how quickly this.
Probably by
because-
gram. It's probably very, very small amounts.
It'll be, well, if it's liquid, it'll be by liters because this is the Empire and they're going to be using metric measurements.
Of course they are.
Correct measurement.
You know, I mean, in universe, it will be imperial measurements, but versus Star Wars, and they use metric.
Well, and to be fair, that's all Desric would know anyways.
Would it be like a small amount that the ship uses? The tank?
It probably won't cost an awful lot. I don't know precisely how much, but it won't be an awful lot.
What do you think? Like 100 credits if it was empty?
Probably something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he pops you that. You're like half fuel, so like 50 credits.
Done. Oh, I had some retrofitted weapons added. If you could give those a look over, maybe see if you can make them airtight.
Pending on the parts required, I will change on price, but we can look them over and then give you a final sum before we start work.
Yeah, just take a look, give me a quote.
Understood, sir.
And Desric will hand him a 50 credit chit and say for the fuel.
You have a good stay here, sir.
Desric just kind of motions to Rose. See? Proper droids.
And they begin to get to work. Checking over the ship for any other things. Just looking as one droid connects the fuel lines.
Lance,
Yes, sir.
can you promote me real quick?
Sure.
No demotion.
Zeke, in what you just said, it reminded me I have a thing for you.
Which part?
Oh, no, here we go.
About the fuel. Something that you could possibly use.
Hey, why did I
secure
get demoted?
Because you said demotion.
That was for Jonas. Give me my power back.
I think you should give him a sheep blankie instead.
Sheep Blinky's gonna go flying.
I don't know where it is, so I just stuck it.
There you go.
And the sheep blankie goes, oh, now it's on the board.
But yeah, no, that is some guy's buck for doing ship stuff. So I don't know if we wanna
Yeah,
use
this is
that
gonna
as a
take me a
guide.
while to go through.
Yeah.
I won't do it on the stream. So hopefully things before really we get back to all this, we can. It'll be after the stream and all that. Blah 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 blah. Anyway.
Yeah, I was fine.
All right, so like I said, droids are getting to work. One's connecting the fuel hose. The rest are looking over the ship for any problems, and as well as the turrets. So, what's everyone else doing?
All right. Well, as Illy and Leo are walking away, she's gonna hand him that modified restraining bolt that basically there's nothing in it.
Okay, who's gonna fit that on? where it would usually go on him. I think there's probably like a little socket for it on his chest plate.
There we go. That should do. Just pretend if somebody tries to shut you down, all right?
Oh, absolutely. If nothing else, once I've been shut down, they will at least open their mouths and highlight as to just why they deactivated me.
Well, hopefully nothing will come of it, but I figure if we're going to be wandering around in public, it's probably best to look the part.
Ah, indeed.
Okay. So, everyone's splitting up, going their ways.
Well,
Yeah.
Rose and Desric are sticking together.
All right, so the two of you are going shopping. Illy's got business, and Leo's going to the library.
Oh, before Desric leaves the ship, Desric's gonna get on comms for a second. Hey, Pith,
Ah, yes.
we've made it down planet side. Rose and I are out headed shopping. You're free to wander about, get whatever supplies you need. Illy's taking some personal leave.
Yes, I'm just currently making a list of all the supplies I need, and I will be cross-referencing them with what's here.
Well, if you have any hard-to-get items, let me know. I might be able to pull a string or two. You never know who you meet in these markets. And I have lots of friends in markets.
Will do.
You have our comm frequency. We'll be in touch. Desert out.
Be safe. Click.
Be bad if we left the ship again without telling Doc what was going on. Desert kind of shrugs to Rose.
Just rolls her eyes. Keeps moving.
All right. So, quick shift. Time shift, actually. You all begin to leave the spaceport. As you exit, you all download to your data pads a map, so you know where to go, as the spaceport would have one. Leo, you begin heading to the library. Rose and Desric, you find whatever, you start heading towards whatever the shop you're looking for is. Illy, I take it you rent a speeder, or are you gonna hoof this?
Now to make more sense if she rents a speeder. So yeah, she will. Yeah, we didn't cover this in the last tail end of last session, but she would have taken the 5,000. So she could use some of that to rent a speeder.
Okay.
Yeah, Desric would have given it up, no complaints. So
Is anybody else gonna rent a speeder, or are y'all just gonna walk?
Depends on how far everything is.
yeah, we'll check the visitor center, but Desric's perfectly comfortable walking the streets. Easier to blend into a crowd.
Do not steal the speeder.
Hey, I
I
don't
don't
have the wingman robot who can't steal for shit. If
Oh, no,
Desric was the
stealth.
one to hotwire,
Still
we're
stealth.
good.
Technically, he could steal it. He just couldn't fly it.
Yes.
Fair point.
Now that might not be as much of a problem anymore, so.
And as Desric has demonstrated, he is capable of flying things.
Yeah, landings can be an issue sometimes.
Hey, the last two went off without a hitch. Well, the one on the spaceport didn't count. It was not my fault.
Yeah, that was crowded.
I mean, who the hell leaves crates in the middle of a landing zone?
No one asked.
Well, I imagine. I mean, I might have an idea. I just haven't said.
Question for the next time we're at the station.
Yes.
Okay, so Leo, you're just gonna walk?
Yes. Depending on how far. Well, I mean, I don't have a single credit to my name, so.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yes, I am.
So it's just a few blocks away. This place is not huge, but it's big enough to where a speeder is quite convenient. At most, you'll travel from the spaceport to the farthest end, maybe 30 minutes.
Okay. Along the way, I want to take note of the Imperial presence.
You note there are no Imperials on the ground. It's just, local forces.
Okay.
Actually, you all notice this.
Yep, Desric was planning to do a bit of sightseeing, as it were.
Finding that.
Yeah. Yeah, at least keeping an eye open.
Yeah, I figured I didn't need to make you roll to not see what's not there. So, anyways, we continue on. Real quick, Leo, you do make it to the library. It is not large, but it's not small. It's good size. And as you go in, obviously there's no books. So they're all set into little data cylinders and whatnot. And they've got shelves upon shelves of these. Well, maybe not shelves. I don't know how they would be set up. Probably still shelves. And they are organized quite well, but as you walk in, there is the attendant's desk just before you can get past and get to the books, or the information.
Yeah, he's going to approach the receptionist. And he's going to go, "Greetings. I wish to access the archives, if you would allow."
The woman turns around and looks up at you. She is Amiri Ellen. And she looks at you and says, "Ah, yes. Is there any particular archives you are interested in?"
Myself and my crew are part of an archaeological, what would we call ourselves? A company, I suppose. And we are interested in looking into the various ruins that you have in this world.
Roll deception.
Yes! Come on, Leo, you can do it.
This does not sound reassuring.
Seriously, is that your dice pool?
That is my dice pool.
You need to spend a destiny point, like, right now.
I was just considering that myself.
Okay, how do you want to spend it?
I'm upgrading.
Okay.
Note to self, never let the droid lie again.
I mean, it wasn't technically a lie because we are digging up artifacts.
But you're not an archaeological crew.
Well, technically.
Well, I mean, we might not be professionals.
Oh. If it was only going to be one more roll in that direction.
Had it been a triumph, that would have been just, yeah, awesome.
She just kind of cocks her head. Well, kind of odd an archaeological crew would be here. There's no ruins known here. This is an agricultural world. What? If you're interested, they're over there. And she points to a specific section. It is in the back. And it's clearly marked. And it basically states history of... you got history of Tanab. You've got geographics of the planet. And things like that. It's... basically, everything about Tanab is crammed into one shelf. I mean, it's a large shelf, and these are tiny little data cylinders, so it can hold a lot. But it's all right there on that shelf.
Thank you. Do you have a terminal that I can use whilst I'm here?
Yes, they're over there in that corner, and these are more up front, but they are... if you were to imagine... let me get a pen. Building kind of looks like this. Receptionist desk is here. The place you're looking for the files is right there. And the terminals are just along this wall. The shelves kind of start here.
Okay. So I basically want to position myself when I've got the data pants, the data cylinders. I'm going to do something whilst I'm there, though. But when I eventually come back, I essentially want to position myself so I have a view of the entrance.
Okay. So which one are you hitting first?
Let's go history of Tanab, because the way that I'm thinking it'll work in my mind is if there aren't an awful lot of ruins on the planet, if at all, the reason why possibly that the artifact is here is more for a geological reason. So that is probably going to take a lot more to go through than it would otherwise. Because like I'm thinking, like if there are like a specifically known ruins, I'm more likely to find it immediately. But if it's a geographical thing, it's going to take a while. So I might as well get the short information out of the way first, and then focus on the grind afterward.
In other words, multiple lore checks.
Pretty much, yeah.
Alright. So... do you intend to go through all of them? Or do you just going to go until you find something and then call it?
Do I have any sort of idea of the time, like the era that the artifact was from?
The artifact itself, you could not guess its time because it was actually quite pristine, believe it or not.
Oh,
the
yeah.
temple around it, you knew that it had to be around the time, either around the time of the explosion, or it was just really, or the first bombardment run, either just after that or before that, but well protected or hidden because there was no blaster marks on it.
Okay. That's basically gonna cut an awful lot of time for me searching for this. What I'm guessing might be another temple. So yeah, I'm gonna basically search for in the history from that sort of time period where the initial bombardment of Taris was, just to see what Tanab was like around that time, and what might have been around, if anything at all, because I'm guessing that if this is an agricultural world now, back then it may well have just been a colony. If that.
Okay. So if you're just going to go through all of them, I'm just going to have to make you do a single roll. But if we start doing, multiple things and stop when you find something, then multiple rolls.
Well, it's going to be going through all of it until I find something that may be relevant. And then what I'm going to do is open up a new quote-unquote tab, collect a bunch of different sort of bookmark data points, and then come back to them.
Okay, so it's going through, make cliff notes, and come back later.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to make you do one roll for that.
Okay. What do you want me to roll?
Lore.
Okay. This is one of the few knowledge checks that I do not have a rank at.
And to answer Discord chat, I would prefer the black grid.
Okay.
Okay, if you can drop one of those things down, I'll set that up.
Okay, give me a second.
Oh, okay. That's
Nice.
exactly the roll. Well, I mean, it's a nice roll, no lie. But that's straight down the middle.
It's in your dice
Of
tray.
one I could possibly get.
Okay, very good.
I'm trying to determine the difficulty. It's a lot of information, and if there would be anything, it would be kind of small and vague. So I'm debating between a 4 and a 3.
So you just want straight black, or did you want a grid?
If you want to put grid lines in there, that's fine.
Okay. Because I think we can actually set grids through the environment.
Yeah, we can, but they would be black because the grid lines
I
are
believe
black.
you can change the grid lines.
I'm about to say, what are the grid lines for? I mean, yeah, they make sense for moving around, but we could set that up for measure length, so it doesn't matter.
True. Okay, it's good to go.
And give yourself a boost, Jonas, considering that you're a data analysis.
Oh. Oops.
Flip the sheep. Okay. So you go through it and you anticipate a lot of information. Unfortunately, you didn't anticipate the true scope of the information. There's a shit ton. Even in the time frame that you're looking for. There's a lot. And you go through it. This is going to take you hours. But you do eventually find multiple things that are interesting, and you make cliff notes beside them. So while this is going on, keep that in mind. We're going to do a screen wipe. What?
Before we jump real quick, in going to the shelves and back to the tunnels,
Yes.
have I seen a rear entrance? Or exit, sorry.
Exit, no, but there is back rooms, though what's back there, you don't know.
Okay. That's all I want to know, just in case the stuff that I search encourage eyes to fair.
Okay. So, screen wipe back to Rose and Desric.
Okay, so I assume we stopped by the visitor center to see where the nearest market is.
You downloaded a map, remember?
That works too. So, assuming there's one nearby, Desert's going to suggest they walk.
Yeah, head to the market.
What type of market are you looking for?
Desert's kind of thinking an open market, little bit of everything, so he can get a sense of the
General.
locals. Yeah, he's thinking he's interested in rations. He's feeling fairly well armed, so
Oh yeah,
he's
like I said, agriculture planet. There is food galore here, but it's mostly like that. But this is primarily a farming world. There are still ranches and whatnot, so you still got that, and you do have a lot of animal byproducts, milk, cheese, the usual stuff. Okay, now it seems to be green and going again. Um, so for those who are currently watching, it would probably be a very good idea if we go to recording, primarily because the stream is going kind of crazy. It could be my net in this area, but it seems to be stable right now, but it could definitely wane out. So those in chat, if I can get you guys to pop in, like, do you want to see, would you rather keep going live and hope it works, or would you rather me just drop to a recording and you guys watch later? For those on Twitch, my restream is not connecting to its chat, so
I've got Twitch. You've got at least 2 people in Twitch.
yeah, and I know I got 4 people on YouTube minimum, but this thing has never been 100% accurate. So yeah, pop what's your thoughts up in chat. I may be able to record and stream at the same time, but that's probably going to slow things down. But it would guarantee that, hey, I get something. But yeah, you guys go ahead and pop your votes up. We're going to continue the story as is until I get something, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, so Rosen Desert. You're mainly looking for like a general store. Hello?
Yep, sorry, I'm trying to type and press the push to talk button at the same time.
Oh, yeah, that don't hurt.
Yeah, so Desert's looking for rations, maybe something to get Doc to show some appreciation.
You're not sure if there would be like ration packs on this planet, primarily because, it's a food planet, but there's definitely supplies. You don't see any weapon or armories and things like that. Shops, because this is kind of a peaceful planet. Whether or not they would have something in something like that in the general stores, you don't know. But there's a big food market area. It's basically the center of town. There's a lot of food places around here, and they do all kinds of exotic stuff. Let's see. The general store is kind of off to the side of the main central square. It's good size, but it's nothing spectacular. Beyond that, nothing really there. Nothing major.
Well, I mean, it's worth checking out.
Well, I meant shop-wise. There's nothing other shops major noticeable.
Oh, so it's not like an open market. It's just like one supermarket?
No. Well, the place is selling a lot of food stuff. That's a big, giant spot. The other places around are like restaurants and bar and grill kind of type. The, what is that? The general store. It's located beside, like across the street from the food, the big open market for food. It's not, like I said, it's not large, but you get the feeling it's going to be there's nothing really else of interest on the map.
Gotcha. Well, it seems we are limited in shopping choices, but maybe we can at least pick up some fresh fruit and vegetables. Something a little bit better than the standard rations they gave us to eat.
Yes, that'd be nice.
So Desric will start walking that way, and he's just kind of people watch along the way, observe the crowds, see what folks seem
Yeah.
to be doing.
I've been doing that the whole time.
Sorry, just setting up the names and stuff. Okay, so roll perception, both of you.
2 success, 2 advantage, and a triumph.
Alright, may have to update this later.
Okay,
so
that did
it's
not
a
pick up
square
the dice
texture.
I wanted. Although I'm not sure it's going to matter what I roll compared to. Wait, what?
Oh, nice.
Okay. Hold on. One moment, please.
Just grab
Seriously?
one.
Yeah, it didn't matter what I rolled because Rose clearly paying much more attention than I
see
am.
and hear everything.
You did get a success.
Yeah, I don't know how difficult the check was. Oh, gee, the all black is very, very all black.
Yeah, I haven't drawn on it yet.
Oh, I was hoping there would be at least
Oh
like
my God,
gray or white
that's
grid
like-
lines.
Midnight black.
Okay, so okay,
There we go.
the grid lines hurt.
Yeah, they are a bit obnoxiously bright, aren't they?
Oh my God, that hurt. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go. That's better.
Yeah, much better.
Okay, we can make this work.
If I can draw.
Might be easier using the line tool.
Okay, so this is gonna be the map. At least of the city you're on. So Spaceport. This is the open food market. That's kind of the general store over there. So I'm not gonna bother drawing street lines, but this is pretty much what
No
you've seen
worries.
so far. Bar and grill up there. Restaurant there. Kind of a large restaurant there. Another bar and grill there. And this is about the shop layout that you can see. So, Rose, how much? Okay, so you completely canceled out my threat. Desric, how much advantage did you roll? Just one?
Just one.
Okay, so you both succeed because all I rolled was 2 threat. But, Desric, you're looking around. Everyone here is somewhat dressed quite nice. There you see, you get the feeling they're off-worlders, both of you. But you do see a lot of people who are dressed up like farming tunics, ranching tunics, things like that. You see people bringing in large speeders, like freighter speeders, freighter trucks, to and from to different locations. The streets are wide to allow for, you know, freight traffic and pedestrian traffic. There's a lot of open space. A good amount of buildings here, but mostly just open space to allow for so much traffic to go through. You don't see any Imperials. You do see some local authorities, local guards. They're not the scary type you usually see. They're actually quite friendly, helping a few people along and whatnot. Crap, what was I gonna... I did have something planned, but I just went brain dead because I had to draw the map.
I don't know. Move on to Rose, maybe? Maybe she saw something more interesting than I did.
You both spot this, but she spots it faster.
Oh.
Desert, you do see there is a bar right around.
Well, hello.
It's a cantina. Right there.
Perhaps after we get some food, Desert should go inquire.
It's a
about
bit
the cantina.
rustic.
Yeah, well, as far as Desert's concerned, this whole planet is very rustic.
Yeah, but it's still quite nice.
Rose doesn't like this planet.
What was that?
Rose doesn't like this planet at all.
Not enough death and mayhem.
I mean, it's too much peace.
Too clean, too quiet.
As you get to the open food market, it is actually quite open. Along the edges, there are stalls and kiosks set up that are selling, local fruit, vegetables, some animal products, things like that. In the center, you see it's like a bigger warehouse where they hold a lot of the stuff, and this is used for transporting large quantities. But as you pass the cantina, you notice that coming out of it is a Imperial officer. Pays you no mind, but begins walking back to the spaceport.
Interesting.
So far, it's the only Imperial presence that you've seen. Rose, your triumph. As you pass the officer, you get a quick feel from him. And the feel is something urgent. Not sure what.
The temptation.
Shoot, I don't know anything about it, so I can't ask.
Rose whispers over to Desiree and says, "Would you give me a moment?" and then starts following the officer.
Roll your stealth.
This can't possibly go wrong.
Yeah, I'm guessing from Desert's perspective, he noticed the officer and then kind of just moved on to surfing the rest of the crowd, and he just turns around and all of a sudden Rose is gone.
3.2.
So, yeah, you hear Rose whisper that in your ear, and as you turn around, you don't see her anymore.
Poof. Rose. Great.
That only lasts for a little bit because some of the local authorities start walking up to her and says, "Excuse me, miss," and they are talking to Rose. They're
Well, I mean, I was going to trail from a little bit behind, so they wouldn't see me through the crowd. But
yeah.
Oh, they just come up to me then?
Well, they're coming up to you and miss, excuse me.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, it looks. He says this in a more lower tone. It looks like you're trying to follow that Imperial officer. Your eyes have been on him, and you've been
Almost.
walking with him, almost at a distance, obviously, but yeah.
Oh, he. Sorry, it's. I used to be. I'm sorry, and I just walk away.
He kind of starts jogging up. I was like, wait. Do you stop?
I stop.
He stops. He gets close and leans into closer to your ear. Look, and he says this really quietly. A lot of people on this planet don't like the Imperials, but for right now, we don't want any trouble. So, whatever you have planned with Imperial officers, keep it to yourself, please. We don't need trouble. And with that, he kind of turns, he just steps back and walks off.
Alright. I go back to Desric then. Fuck,
I assume Desric saw her get intercepted by these security guards.
Yes, and you know they were talking. It was two of them. You know they were talking, but you did not hear what they said.
So Desric would have tensed and started to ready himself when the two officers approached, but then he watches them talk to her and let her go, and he just stands there confused.
Yeah, make my way back to Desric and just say, so where were we?
You just got caught, and they let you go.
Yeah, that's a thing. That usually doesn't happen.
Yeah. Perhaps we should talk about that later in a less conspicuous place. For now, food, and let's try not to disturb any of our friends in gray.
Oh, slight note. I'm gonna need your help. I'm gonna find me somewhere where I can, I tap the hilt of my vibro sword. Do a bit of upgrading. That's it, if we can find somewhere.
Ah, okay. Well,
And I'm gonna need
This-
your help with that.
doesn't seem like a planet that deals much in the way of weaponry, but yeah, we'll ask around.
Keep it inconspicuous.
Of course. So Desert's gonna look around for the food shop, or look for like a clerk or something.
There's a person at every kiosk.
Okay. Is this like we pick out our stuff and just check out at the end like a supermarket, or is this like you go in and you place an order and they'll deliver it?
They're kiosks. So think a stand with different food on them, and the person is behind the tuck pointing at the different foods, prices, how sweet they are, things like that. Think of like going to an open, a farmer's market.
Right. Sorry, tried to mute that in time. Okay, so Desric's gonna approach one of the shopkeepers, and he's gonna take a look over the foods. He's looking for something semi-perishable. He wants fresh fruit, but he also wants stuff that he can kind of send to the ship and it'll keep for at least a few days, maybe a week.
Well, you can tell all of this stuff is fresh, really fresh. As organic as you're going to get in this Imperial or Star Wars universe. As for perishable, there are facilities inside your ship that slow down considerably the rate of perish, even on fruit and vegetables, things like this.
Oh,
So-
well, then in that case, Desric's just going to get the good stuff.
So as you're walking up, the owner of the kiosk notices you and begins, sales pitch. And these fruits and vegetables, all picked 2 days ago, quite fresh, cleaned. The fruit is really sweet. I've got different varieties. The vegetables here, good flavor, very healthy. I even got some different spices over here, not drug spice, but seasonings and spices.
Yeah.
Over here.
Desert can guess by the cut of the man that he's